We will begin shortly. Just want to let you know that this webinar is being recorded, as all of our other ones have as well, and they will be posted in our YouTube channel as soon as it processes. But just some housekeeping items today. In just a few moments, we'll be utilizing the Q&A function of the Zoom webinar. So if you don't see the Q&A box, if you click the three dots on the bottom banner, you'll see the Q&A section. We'll use this for all questions that you might have that might come up throughout the presentation. So please send in anything and everything there. You won't be able to come off of mute until the very end if you wanted to ask your question in a live capacity. But other than that, this is your traditional Zoom webinar, and I will send it over to my good friend Dylan to kick us off.
Thank you, Stephen. I really appreciate that. And I'm really excited to be chatting with everyone today and telling everyone about the exciting services and resources of the Career Center. As Stephen mentioned, my name is Dylan Houle. I am proud to be your executive director of the Career Center. I've been with Santa Clara University for 2 years now. Really love working at Santa Clara, great community. I enjoy being part of a Jesuit university, great values, great people. And I'll turn it over to my colleagues to introduce themselves briefly, and then I'll share some more details with you. Melissa?
Thanks, Dylan. Melissa Thierrier, use she, her pronouns. I'm the Director of Employer Relations and Partnerships in the Career Center. So I work with all of the great employers that your students will be seeing on campus that are eager to recruit from SCU. Been here for about just under 5 years and excited to see and welcome this brand new class of students. And I'll kick it over to Colleen.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Melissa and Dylan. Colleen Withers, Director of the Career Development Team over here at the Career Center. Been on this team for about 1.5 years, and prior to that was over at Santa Clara's Graduate Business Career Team. And I run the team that's the most student-facing. So if your student is interested in coming in to meet with us and one-on-one appointments, my team and I are here for them.
Fantastic. Thank you both. And Melissa, why don't you kick us off by showing our slide deck?
On it.
Fantastic. So we're here representing the Career Center. As you just heard, the Career Center has 2 different teams. One's employer relations, that's external facing, working with employers in the Silicon Valley, Bay Area, as well as national organizations and multinational organizations to recruit Santa Clara students for internships and jobs. And then we have a career development team, which is internal facing and works with students on their resumes, interviews, job search strategy. So that's a little bit of the Career Center structure. Melissa, take us to the next slide, please. One thing I always like to share with parents and students is a little bit of how we think about the work here in the Career Center, kind of an overarching philosophy or the purpose of our work. And one of our sayings is the Career Center helps deliver on the promise of higher education, a good job, social capital, and economic mobility in pursuit of a more humane, just, and sustainable world. So that's really what we think we're here to help students do. Get a good job, leave Santa Clara knowing more people than they knew when they came here, and be positioned to advance in their careers and progressively hold higher and higher position titles or make more and more money or position themselves well in the economy for the rest of their life. So that's a little bit of our purpose and our philosophy. Melissa, take us to the next slide. Of course, a good job means something different to everyone. At a university like Santa Clara with dozens, if not hundreds of degree programs, students are conceiving of the types of careers they want to pursue differently with different motivations. Our finance students have different motivations than our history students, who have different motivations than our art students or dance students. So what does a good job mean to you? That's part of what we help students discern in the Career Center. As a Jesuit university, one of the terms that you're likely to hear is vocation discernment. And vocation comes from the word vocare, which means calling. So helping students discern, what is your calling? What are you called to do? What are your skills, your strengths, your interests? What are your expectations of a job? Meaning, do you want to make a lot of money? Is that important to you? Do you want interpersonal fulfillment, meaning you want to be working in community or making friends at work? Do you want opportunities for growth so that you can get promotions and continue accumulating higher and higher levels of responsibility? Or is values alignment really important to you? Working for a company that shares your view of the world and how we should treat people and how we should treat others. And then lastly, how and where do you want to contribute? What causes animate you? What will give you purpose? How will you leverage the work that you do and your education at Santa Clara to make a positive impact on your family, on your community, and on the world? And so that's a lot of what we help students discern. A lot of what Colleen's team specifically works with students to discern is what is a good job for you. Let's go to the next slide. So one of the tools that we have available to students and that we encourage students to participate in even before they get here for welcome weekend and move-in weekend is Focus 2, which is our self-assessment tool. As you can see here, there's 5 different assessments: a work interest assessment, a values assessment, a personality assessment, a leisure assessment, and a skills assessment. These are all based on a theory developed by a career development theorist called Holland. So this is a Holland code theory, and these results align with different jobs that are out there. So based on how you like to spend your free time, based on what your personality is like, based on your work interest, this assessment will give you a suite of jobs that you can explore. And one of the things we encourage students to do is, yes, take this assessment, but it's really important that you then come in and meet with a career coach to interpret the results because they're not prescriptive. They're just meant to open the door to different questions and conversation. So to all of you in the audience today, encourage your students to take the Focus 2 assessment. If they have their SCU email address, they already have access to it, and it is on our website. You can easily find it. Go to the next slide, Melissa. One other thing that we have on offer in helping students get a good launch when they come here, in helping to answer that question, what is a good job, is our career guides by class year. We get a lot of questions from students and parents. Hey, what should my student be doing in the first quarter that they're here? Or what's the checklist of things that they should be doing during their freshman years to set themselves up for success? Should they be doing an internship? All of those questions. So we've created guides for every single class here, including first-year students and transfer students, as well as some special populations like undocumented students and athletes, which are not on here. And we encourage you to check this out. Now, I'll say this. The 3 main things we advise students to do when they come to Santa Clara are, in their first year, join a student club or 2 or 3, get to know people, get to know the community. Also, a lot of these clubs do a really good job of staying engaged with alumni that were members of that club. So it's a good opportunity to network with graduates as well. The second thing that we recommend students do, go out and volunteer in the local community. That's another great way to meet people in Silicon Valley and the local Bay Area. And it doesn't mean you have to go plant trees or work at Second Harvest Food Bank. There's lots of opportunities that can actually be really aligned with your major. You just have to find maybe a local nonprofit that might need some help, administrative help or something like that. And it's a great way to meet people and maybe even get some resume building experience. And I'll pause to say, I think it's so important that students get out there into the community because we're in Silicon Valley, which I think is one of our greatest value propositions. And Santa Clara does a really good job of bringing Silicon Valley to campus and helping students engage with, the vibrant ecosystem. But students really need to get out into Silicon Valley too. It's the best way to take advantage of the fact that we're here. Don't wait for Santa Clara to bring it to you. Go out, volunteer, attend events, get engaged with the broader community. It'll pay for itself tenfold by the time you're ready to graduate. Okay, those are my slides, and those are some of the foundational things we recommend students do. And I'm going to pass it over to Colleen to take you through a couple more action items.
Perfect. So to get a little more tactical, for those of you that want real specific help, although Dylan's suggestions I would also agree with, get out there in the community, join a club on campus, if not one, then two or three. But if you're ready to take a look at your resume, your cover letters, LinkedIn, we are here for you for that. I highly recommend starting with our website. So if you just Google SCU Career Center, you're going to hit on that page there on the left, and you see all the little buckets on the top. And I recommend that you jump into the job prep toolkit. That is public information. So you as a student can see it, you as a parent can see it. And there is tons and tons of information on there and resources that the students can utilize, that anyone actually could utilize. And I do recommend you take a look there and point your students in that direction. The way that it's laid out too is also super helpful. So the different buckets on that job prep toolkit really help the students go from one step to the next. So the first bucket has a lot to do with that career discernment, that what can I do with this majors, things like that, that you're still trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives. And then the second bucket is focused a lot more on the tactical items. So getting the resume polished, getting the LinkedIn set up and ready to go. So each bucket takes you through different phases. If you go to the next slide, I'll show a few of the highlights. So what can I do with this major? As I just mentioned, is a really great platform, especially if students are still debating what major they want. I know a lot of students come into Santa Clara undeclared. So you can sort by major, and then once you click on the major, it actually goes through all the different types of jobs that you could get into, and then additional resources to follow up with. It could be associations, it could be jobs specific for that major. So it really drills down with a lot of information, which I think is super helpful. Going global is a great opportunity if your students have interest in either working abroad, or if you're an international student looking at working in the United States. There's a lot of information on there to help students understand the different rules within the United States, but also within other countries as well, and some of the guidelines within there. Handshake, hopefully most of your students downloaded at orientation, but Handshake is the platform that every student should know about. So if there's one takeaway I would say from this webinar, ask your student, did they download the Handshake app? On Handshake, think about it as a LinkedIn for students. So they create a profile. Employers post jobs on there specifically for Santa Clara students. We have all of our events on there. So that's how students can register for career fairs, workshops, meetups, all that kind of thing. As well, that's where they would schedule an appointment with me or anyone on our team. So Handshake is really the first stop to get your students connected to all the different career resources. Other than that, a couple other fun tools. JobScan is a new tool that we have where students can actually take a look at their resume and take a look at a job description and optimize it. So it will give the students a score based on the details within the job description, the keywords and things like that, and help trigger some different either keywords, or it could be skills to highlight that maybe they're missing, that they hadn't thought they needed on their resume, but will really help them, particularly with applicant tracking systems. So when students apply online, as we know, thousands and thousands of students are applying all at the same time. So this will really help your students stand out based on the job description. So making sure that their resume is tailored to that job description. And then hopefully once they get that first interview, Big Interview is a great tool that will help students practice for those interviews. Again, that's something they can come in our office and we can do with them in a one-on-one. We also have workshops around that. But if they want to do it, in the middle of the night when they're most ready to prepare, Big Interview is a great online tool where students can practice those tough interview questions and get some feedback on how they're responding. Yeah. So speaking about the appointments and the workshops and things like that, I have 4 different career development specialists that work for me, and they all have a different focus area. So we have someone focused specifically on the School of Business students, STEM students, arts and sciences students, and then the graduate student population. So it's a great opportunity to meet with those individual career coaches and ask those real job search strategy questions. Within the one-on-one appointments, obviously you get tons of information. I know some students prefer more of a drop-in model. So we also have spots where the specialists are around campus and students can drop in for quick questions. And then obviously the workshops as well. We have workshops around resumes, around LinkedIn, around networking, around interviewing. So we love to have students come in for a real deep dive on one of those topics as well. Again, just a plug for Handshake too. That's the place that students would see the list of all those information and where to sign up. One other tool to highlight, which I absolutely love, is called Bronco Exchange. This is an alumni platform. So Santa Clara alums have joined the platform to mentor students. So what that means is that all students need to go do is log in, create a profile, and they can connect to any Santa Clara University alum or what we call friends of the university. So parents can also join this platform and they can search for different types of careers, people who are in the career to ask a question. I think that a lot of these online tools that just have resources listed are wonderful, but some students really also would love to talk to someone who is a financial analyst. Would you like to do what a financial analyst is doing on a day-to-day basis? This is a great opportunity to have those kind of informational conversations so that students can really start to understand what it's like to do that job and then also expand their network. So I do recommend that students jump on that platform sooner rather than later to go ahead and start reaching out and having those conversations. Lastly, I just want to mention the Career Influencer Network. So this is a group of faculty, staff, and community members across Santa Clara who help students with their career discernment and development process. So there is a list of these people on our website as well. Students are welcome to also reach out to the faculty and staff that they know immediately. But if they Google some of these people and they like the research that the faculty is doing, we recommend that they definitely reach out to them as well. These are people on campus who also want to give back to the students and really help them with their career journey.
All right. Thank you, Colleen. I'm going to take it from here to drive us home. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the other tools and focus on how we bring employers to our students. Already have talked about Handshake a little bit, but wanted to share a couple more stats here that this houses more than 650,000 different employers of all shapes and sizes, Fortune 100, 500, and everything in between. Last academic year alone, we had 22,000 internships posted. So whatever news you might be hearing or seeing, there's still plenty of jobs and internships out there for our students. Now, figuring out how to use any platform takes a little bit of adjustment, but I am really happy to say that Handshake is very intuitive. The app that Colleen was mentioning is very well positioned. It's really engaging for students. And now it's even more like any app that you would already use, like Netflix or Instagram, where it's curating based on the actions that you're taking on the platform and learning from those actions so that it can get better and better by providing you a better For You page, essentially. So 40,000 different jobs, internships, and fellowship opportunities were all posted for SCU students. And about 9,500 employers were posting jobs from 72 different industries and 79 different geographic locations. So while I think the majority of the jobs and internships that we see from different companies coming to us for career fairs or other engagements on campus tend to be in the Silicon Valley, if your student is coming from Seattle or New York or Texas, there's plenty of options on Handshake for them as well. You can see from the picture on the left that there's a number of different filters that students can utilize in order to customize that search on Handshake. They can search by location, the industry, or the job function. So basically, if they're looking for a rotational program, for example, because they want to go into finance, but they're not sure which area in finance they'd like to do, they can search for rotational programs. If they're an engineer, they're looking for a computer science or a back-end job, they can go ahead and type that into the keyword search and then save that search so that they keep on getting different recommendations or notifications when new jobs are posted that meet those filters. Another really awesome tool that you don't need to be a student in order to use is our LinkedIn alumni tool. So many of you probably have a LinkedIn profile, but did you know that you have an alumni tool that is very helpful in finding out where different alumni from any university have gone on to work? So you can do this by going onto LinkedIn, and you're going to search up the Santa Clara University website. From here, you can see a couple of different tabs, but if you click on alumni, you're going to see a full list of many different people that are either associated that work at SCU or that are alumni. So for example, if I wanted to find someone that was a product manager, I could go ahead and type that in and see a number of different recommendations. Maybe I want to get really specific and only look at people that are in the San Francisco Bay Area. So now I've got a ton of different people in this search that I could reach out to ask what being a product manager in the Bay Area looks like. Some other really cool functionalities that are available, especially for our incoming students. We often hear the question, hey, what does someone with, let's see, a finance degree go on to do? Or actually, we've going really finance heavy. Let's go ahead to psychology. I can click on that and then take a look at all of the different psychology majors and where they work. Some of these folks might be current students, but if you keep on scrolling through, you're going to see a bunch. Demetria was actually one of our most recent grad interns, and she has just landed a job at NVIDIA as an AI analyst. So that's pretty exciting to take a look at all of the different diverse range of roles that our students are now pursuing based on their degree. And you can do that for location, for major, for what they're doing currently, and a bunch of other things that you see up here. The employer relations team also runs all of the career fairs on campus. We're really excited to be hosting our fall career fair bash, which is our business, arts, social science, and humanities students coming up on October 3rd, and our STEM career fair on October 16th. Both of those are going to be in person, and you can see a couple of pictures on the right side of the screen. Students are going to get tons of information and marketing on these different career fairs. Definitely encourage our first years to attend, even if they're not ready to go ahead and get an internship or job right away. This is a great experience to get their feet wet and see what kinds of employers are coming and recruiting at Santa Clara. What I'm hearing from employers right now is that many of them want to actually meet first-year students because they're really interested in engaging students from an early age so that they can build that relationship. So by the time that they're ready to look for that internship or first job, that company is on their mind. We also offer a number of other more specialized or casual engagements, what we like to call pop-ins or coffee chats and meetups. And this is really a chance to connect with employers in a more intimate and casual setting. Students can learn about different companies, their cultures, all the different types of opportunities, and really get tips and information on that recruitment process. Sometimes they are even invited for interviews or next stages, invited to apply thereafter. These are really great opportunities, again, to talk to folks, to get used to talking to potential employers, and see what kinds of industries are out there. I did want to share one thing up here. This is our recruitment calendar. Especially after COVID, I think we've seen recruitment timelines and things like that run the gamut. They were very strict and they were very loose during COVID, and now they're kind of coming back. So there's definitely variation, but at certain times of the year, it's great to remind your student that there's different hiring timelines. So for example, finance and consulting typically come in the earliest in very early summer even, with doing some heavy recruiting, whereas you might see arts, culture, media, and entertainment have more of a year-round or at least later in the springtime kind of recruitment timeline. So especially if you're starting to hear different students or friends of your students say, I've got an internship, tell them not to worry because they might not be in the same major, they're looking for the same kind of industries, that they do have different hiring timelines. And the last thing is just connect with our team. This is a beautiful picture of our team right here, and you're welcome to check out all of our amazing resources on our website, SCU Career Center. You can find us pretty easily. I think at this time, we are totally open to answer any questions that folks may have. You're welcome to come off mute, or maybe Stephen, if you have a couple that are surfacing in the chat.
I have not seen many come through, but I do want to remind our audience that you have the undivided attention of 3 of our Career Center team members. So please feel free to ask any question you might have. I believe there's an anonymous question functionality as well if you don't feel comfortable coming off mute or listing your name. But while I have you, and while I'll give our audience some time to think about their questions, I did want to ask each of you, what is your #1 tip on something that students can do in their first year to set them up for success when they begin looking for an internship?
Well, I would steal Dylan's earlier answer. So I think joining a club. As soon as you come to campus, get involved in something. It helps you make some friends, it helps expand your network. And then, have conversations with, your roommate, the people down the hall, introduce yourself to new people, because that's how you really broaden your horizon.
I would add on to say, instead of just like people or organizations, don't be afraid to go and try something out. College, you're going to be brand new to this entire new ecosystem here at Santa Clara. And if you see something that sounds interesting, go to it, check it out. You never know who you're going to meet or what kind of opportunities that inspires for you.
And I would add, schedule an appointment with your career coach. Get to know the person on our team who's assigned to you based on your academic program. So on the career development team, Colleen's team, if you're a business school student, the woman on our team, Noelle Kreidler, is your career coach. If you're a School of Engineering student, then Vanya Tong on our team is your career coach. And the sooner you can meet your career coach and get to know them and share your story, your goals, your aspirations, the better they're going to be able to help you throughout all 4 years. So I think that'd be my piece of advice as well.
Those are all great. Would you say it's never too early to start looking for an internship, or should they kind of get their feet wet with what we have to offer on campus before diving into that world?
I would say to jump right in.
I would agree with that, and add some context to manage expectations. A lot of companies don't hire first year students as interns. Internships are generally reserved for students who have already accumulated some experience in terms of academic knowledge. They've taken some classes related to their major. They feel like they're ready to apply that learning in an internship. So we do see some companies hiring sophomore year students, but most internships are at the junior year or in the summer after the junior year. So that's one of the reasons we encourage some alternative options for experiences: clubs, volunteering, on-campus jobs, even part-time off-campus jobs. There's all sorts of opportunities throughout Silicon Valley. But there are opportunities for internships if you can find them. Just want to manage expectations that for first-year students, it's not likely that you'll do an internship in the classic sense. Melissa, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, and definitely we do have a couple of other options too, for especially that I'd like first years to consider if they really wanted to build on their resume specifically. On our website, you'll find that we offer a couple of different options, including micro internships, which are paid part-time projects that range anywhere from 2 to 15 hours. The best part about this is that they are paid and they are real work. So this is a great opportunity for a student to start doing some real work for a company and develop relationships. Heard some great stories about students pursuing projects on that platform and then having a longer term engagement with that employer thereafter, leading to an internship. So that's one great way. We also offer another tool called Forage on our website, which offers virtual work simulations. These are a little bit longer in time. I think it's about 10 to 20 hours, if I'm not mistaken, of online work. And it actually is courses that are offered by different employers ranging in their fields. But then when students complete that virtual work simulation, they actually have 7 times more likely chance of getting an internship with those companies and really well-known companies as well. So those are definitely an option for first years as well.
Great, that's awesome. For wow. For our audience, if you have any other questions, please feel free to submit them. While you continue to think about those, I'm going to go with our closing spiel and let you all know that once this webinar processes, we will upload it to our YouTube channel, and I will make sure it gets out to all of our attendees. And I want to thank the Career Center team for being here today and spending some of the day with us and telling us about what they have to offer. Their services are great. Make sure your students utilize them. It's such a great first step into, securing that dream job that your students want. So, and if nothing else, I will let our team, our presenters go and have the rest of their day. And thank you all for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us. We
Thank
look
you.
forward to